You're an absolute smashing through the surviving members of FunPlus, and LGD looking like a completely different team to the one in the first couple of weeks here.
And I wanted to draw your attention over to FunPlus Phoenix's mid lane, who was the legitimate carry last game, but right now took a downturn over to a more supportive role. Look at that. The Karma building into the Athenes, building into the Zeeks, building what looks like it's going to be the Ardent Center as well.
I don't mind Doing B's role when it's an engaging support, but when he's playing Karma, how do you engage on a Karma? You press like RQ. How do you engage with an Ezreal? How do you
you press EQ?
Engage with the Tahm Kench besides voyaging behind someone? What are you looking for right now with the Renekton far behind? It's really difficult for you to pick a fight. Pretty much they're playing full disengage from the potential engage coming out of LGD, but still that relies on LGD flubbing, and that's exactly what LGD aren't doing you before they have the chance to make a mistake in the fights.
I'm just happy you finally accepted the fact that Renekton has lost the early.
Leave Renekton alone, man. He's trying. He's still gonna bounce back, and you see that's why Kennan's so afraid of him. I don't know. Oh, I feel so bad because I'm so glad that we get to see it because it's his signature pick, but this is really not working out this time around. It feels like LGD came super prepared for this, and honestly, Condi only went up like once, so this is entirely on Lies, who we had a couple of question marks about coming into the series, coming into the split, but this guy's pretty damn legit.
No, it is. I mean, you have to consider the fact that Gimgoon picked the Renekton because he considered his opponent to... Oh, that's a nice explosive cast. Really dragged the minion wave away. But you have to consider the Renekton what he thought it was going to be into the Gragas pick.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's true. But on topic of the explosive cast, you also have that Mantra E from the Karma, proccing that Zeke's convergence when there was already the disengage. So this Karma basically has only one Athene's Unholy Grail in her inventory right now. So maybe FPX could look for this fight if Yuki missteps, but probably won't.
But Yuki already went into the Shroud, so there's nothing that FPX can do to stop him right now. LGD just disengaged completely as they start preparing the Baron Nashor 22 minutes and 30 seconds into the second game.
So if LGD, you don't really want to take a team fight till you have that cask available to you again, because not only is it a good engage tool for the Kennen to follow up on, for the Akali, for the Hextech Ultimatum to follow up on, but as well as that, it just splits people from the Kindred ult, which is exactly what you want to do. You want to promote this Chaos playstyle, split the team, let Akali shred through people like Kaisar, freely auto-attack, and that's what has happened these past couple of fights. Gimgoon, you may look for an engage. We said this is the only one from FunPlus that can actively start to look for these fights by himself, and he walks up to them with W active, and that's pretty much all Renekton can do for engage.
I also wanted to point out the fact that the explosive cast doubles down is even more useful tool because it splits everyone apart in FunPlus Phoenix from the Mantra E from Karma.
That is very, very true, and the Mantra E is super important because it applies the Ardent Sense.
Oh, hold up. There could be a steal, but look at the slicing Maelstrom. Condi picks up the Baron Nashor. That LGD already taken. Scraps here from FPX were completely split. They didn't even need the explosive cast to get the ace on FunPlus Phoenix.
LGD shredding through the entire FunPlus Phoenix lineup, as you said, just turning around a fight, getting that clutch slicing Maelstrom, flash ult engage from the cannon, not much else to be said. That did not even need this Hourglass to just completely hammered their way through this entire lineup, having the barrel to disengage from the Kindred ult that didn't even come out, just CC'd him down. And we said we needed more crowd control onto this pick in the second game, and that's exactly what LGD brought to the table this time around. No longer allowing the Camille to shut down Kindred. You have the Gragas to shut down the Kindred's engage.
And I want a replay of that last fight so bad because Lies did such a tremendous job. Look at that. He flashes into the backline, gets a slicing move, and everyone is still.
So immediately, is it important that he stops the backline of this Karma and Kindred, but you stop the Kindred from getting access to the Baron pit. And then from there, 2 members of FPX are already down, and then it's just smooth sailing from here onwards because LWX has stepped so far forward. There's no way for Crisp to eat him up. Immediately being shred through by the Akali and Kaisar double damage threat, and just cleanups from this LGD gaming lineup, getting the Baron, getting the Inhib, getting the next Drake under their belts.
I would say that there's little ways that LGD can throw this game at this point in time, but anything can happen. They still have a Baron power play at hand. They already have the mid lane inhibitor open, uncontested by FPX, considering that, death was stopping them from really progressing. But regardless, LGD are focusing on the bottom lane right now. They have this Yuki split in mid lane force pushing in with the super minions enhanced by the Baron Nashor, while the rest of the LGD squad are pushing bot lane.
And it's that big push bot lane that's going to have the Baron reinforced minions. The next wave will come. I think it will be a cannon wave, and therefore we could lot of pressure being alleviated from this Fun Plus Gaming's lineup side, because you just have a lot of pressure being put on them from this LGD Gaming lab. You have no
in the back line, disrupting the structure of FPX completely, while Yuki is trying to collapse on them, but he's just a simple Kali. Collapsed by Renekton, goes into the backline, gets a double stun. Shroud goes down. Look at the damage being dealt. Or actually, Tian is already down for the count. In comes a double kill for Yuki as a slicing maelstrom collapses onto the Summoner's Rift and grants Yuki that precious that's going to close out the game for LGD, tying up the scoreboard 1-1 against FPX. Oh, but they're not done yet. There's still one blood.
LGD did not pick Rumble, but they did manage to find the equalizer this time around, knocking down Fun Plus Phoenix, our favorites to win the entire split in this early half, just completely upsetting them yet again. We saw the LGD take down Invictus Gaming last week. They are tying with our favorite team coming into this.
And what a game, what a second game LGD managed to pull out from FPX here. Really rolling in the momentum into Game 3. Obviously, FPX are going to have the choice of the sides for this third and last game of this best of 3 series. But regardless, LGD showing here that their match against Invictus Gaming wasn't just a fluke. They can still reproduce the same results if they put their minds into it.
Exactly, and LGD just bouncing back from any purported tilt. After game 1, we said they can go in with fresh mentals to each series. Apparently, that can go in for individual game, and now I'm very disappointed because I had fun plus fun equals 2-0.
No,
but that was not usable now, as this is not 2-0.
Fun plus fun equals 1-1. Right now, the series tied. Fun plus Phoenix election, which means that the draft might go slightly different from the previous 2 games.
Yeah, and if draft goes different, I may see a different jungler from Kindred, because in that last half of that fight, Tian did not use the Kindred ult at all, immediately got CC'd and burst down, and now it feels like LGD have figured out the remedy to that pick is just to take the hard CC, nuke down the Kindred before she gets the chance to ultimate, and it's smooth sailing from there on out.
Now, in Fun Plus defense, they did lost one of their primary carries over to the Karma pick. He was such a prominent player on the Lissandra. At seeing him after such a proficient game, seeing him on a Karma kind of felt like a downgrade really for FPX.
Yeah, considering this guy is their primary carry, their primary engage tool, you give him neither of those. Yes, it was a team decision in the facilitate these carries if they managed to pop off, but I did not see a good amount of pressure from the Kindred. See the Ezreal get into a position where he could comfortably carry, and yeah, you do need to see a lot of changes coming from Fun Plus in this game 3, likely around that mid lane champion select.
Yep. And with that being said, we're going to pass over to the analyst desk, who are going to break down so far this series if FPX are looking at another upset in the hands of LGD, or if they're going to manage to come back into this series. So take it away.
All right, back on the desk, and man, this was a turnaround. LGD coming back from, a pretty disappointing first game, as if they hurt my heart cracking after that game. They basically all show up, winning all over the map. So, Cage, what happened here?
There was a lot going on. Honestly, this was very similar to what LGD drafted in the first game, but with main differences being in the top as well as the mid lane coming in and their opponents. When honestly, it was just so much of what we talked about, what they needed to improve with the vision, with just pushing their advantages as much as possible. Condi still played a very good early game, but now he has a team to actually follow up on that. And we saw that this game. All he had to do wait around, make those big plays, and then the rest of the team actually followed suit, pushed the vision, and they were able to get objectives and take this game.
We saw what the plan was from FPX. They knew that LGD was going to come in throwing everything at them possible, and so they wanted to draft hard disengage. They went for the Tom Kench. They went for the Kindred yet again, and they went for the Karma mid lane to give them that shielding, the ability to kite back, and of course the Ezreal, who's adept in that as well. They had all these tools to be able to escape the fights, and so what LGD did to adapt to this is just draft even more hard engage. They got the Kennen this time around to bolster the engage. They got all these extra tools to destroy the backline, including the Akali, and it just opened the game up so much for them. And seeing Yuki on this more hard carry oriented pick, especially a melee range one, is a really good change of form for him. And LGD, they look really exciting, and if they can continue this really hard aggressive style of play where nobody seems to be really able to answer them at this point, then teams are going to have to be wary of this roster. FPX, on the other hand, they've been playing this full disengage series. It worked in Game 1, less so in Game 2, and I need to see them go back to what made them so strong. Hard, mid, jungle duoing consistently, because this right now is just playing directly into LGD's hands.
Yeah, honestly, it seems like a pretty easy adaptation coming out of FPX to just shift this up, play an offensive mid laner. Even Lissandra would be more than enough to just dissuade any engagement coming in from LGD, and really, I don't agree with the Karma mid pick. I get that it's disengage. I get that there was a point that they saw, but it was blind picked in the first round. That gives so much information to the enemy team, and LGD were just capitalizing too easily on that.
Yeah, definitely.
So if we actually go there and have basically both teams playing with open visor, running into each other, are we going to see a fiesta, or do you think that FPX is just going to absolutely take this?
We might see more like the... We might see a lot more what the early to mid game was in Game 1, which was very scrappy, fights happening all over the map, things falling apart for the side of LGD after the early game plays of Condi. And even that, when they had that hard disengage comp, they were still able to take those skirmishes efficiently, and I think that's what they're going to go back to, especially having a pick like a Lissandra, which can dictate the tempo of those fights, is crucial.
Yeah, it all comes down to the pick and draft phase. Honestly, we just need to see FPX go back to their standard. They don't need to be trying anything too fancy. They just need to play how they've always played, and that's the style that gets them the 5-0 and perhaps even the 6-0. But at the same time, LGD finding life and really coming into this split now that they actually have the victory over IG last week and perhaps even this game.
All right, so after this tie, we're going to head back to a quick pause, but after that, the final clash between the Dragon and the Phoenix come alive for you.
Hey, you!
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the third final match of this best of 3 series between LGD and Fun plus Phoenix. Could we be looking down on the second upset in a row from LGD, or could Fun plus Phoenix put an end to the reign of terror of LGD? We'll have to find out in this last draft. For those of you that just joined us, I'm AC, and with me I have Ibris to secure the ins and outs of this best of 3 series.
To ride this roller coaster with you. Yeah, pretty insane series so far, as you've mentioned. Just completely one-sided early games in favor of LGD both times, actually. Mid to late game does go in favor of FunPlus if they can get there. Last game, they couldn't, clearly. So, yep, LGD just cleanly closed, took their lead, and went with it.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to take into consideration that in game number 1, Condi made the mistake of not being able to secure the red buff. They were super aggressive on that invade, so they kind of lost a little bit of traction in the first 5 minutes, but somehow magically Condi managed to get back up, but didn't secure enough leads to guarantee an organic mid game for LGD. But in the second game, none of that mattered. He managed to secure an early game. He secured both red buffs. He shut down Tion completely on the Kindred. To scale into the mid and, well, secured a game as a transition to mid game, basically.
Yep, and shutting down Tion on this Kindred also, by extension, Doinby on this supportive Karma mid, because it denied any chance of those early 2v2s or 3v3s that this FunPlus lineup are so prone to taking. And as well as that, just completely shut out the more supportive kind of questionable pick that we saw from this FunPlus lineup, simply because, you know, Doinby, their primary engage tool, their primary carry, and this time around you had him on the support.
I mean, choices had to be made. I guess they figured out that
mistakes had to be made too.
I mean, okay, you had the Tom Kent, but maybe we need some extra appeal considering that we have the Renekton. The thing is, Doinby was so glued to his mid lane that he could never realistically put any pressure down as a utilitarian mid laner in the silence at all.
Exactly, and you couldn't put anyone on the sidelines at all, really, because this Renekton pick that is Gimgoon's signature champion just had such a bad matchup into the Kennen. Now, whether or not it was a surprise factor of the Kennen or just disrespect, Lies put on a damn good show and really just styled on his opposing number with this counter pick that proved time and time again to be worth it during that game, whether it was in that 1v1 scenario in the lane phase or those team fights, which really turned in LGD's favor thanks to those clutch slicing maelstroms.
Now, I do believe that Fun plus Phoenix got baited into the last draft, because if we take a look back at what actually happened, we had the Camille pick first, and then we had the Gragas picked. If I was Fun plus Phoenix looking back, I would probably assume, okay, one of these is going top, and one of these is going jungle. So we're going to pick Renekton, who matches well into both of these champions. They never I don't think they ever considered that Gragas could go into the support role, which he did. And then they threw the Wild Cannon into the Renekton, and everything blew out.
Please, you've given me a game, now give me RD's Fiddlesticks.
Oh, no. Fun plus Phoenix do not want that. Fun plus Phoenix do not want that Fiddlesticks at all.
Nice times 100. Go to season 9.
Super carry Doinby playing Karma support mid.
Go to season 9.
Oh, man. It's a shame, though, but we'll see Fun plus Phoenix probably take a turn on their strategy here. Put a little bit more carry potential in Doinby's hands, because he is one of the primary carry tools of Fun plus Phoenix. They just need to put it to good use. Again, Fun plus Phoenix, after losing game number 2, decide to remain on the blue side for the third game in a row, with LGD back on the red side. Fiddlesticks goes by. Fun plus Phoenix have first pick.
I doubt they'll pick it for themselves, but LGD, please take the Fiddlesticks. I would absolutely love you. If you don't take it this first rotation, it will be banned out in the second rotation. But now this time, Kaisar, that Kramer had found so much success on in the other games. Yes, game 1 did not go by plan, but he was still 5-2 by the end of it. So taking that away is a very viable power pick.
Boom. On the Xin Zhao, he doesn't have the Camille. It was banned out by FPX. That was a replacement ban for the Fiddlesticks. So a little bit of a different different recipe on the ban section for
Pick
FPX,
fiddle,
LGD.
pick fiddle, pick
Not
fiddle.
yet. Calm down. I'm gonna explain to you why. Because they can't pick Fiddlesticks here, otherwise they'd promote FPX to pick into a support immediately. So LGD want to leave that for their last pick.
Fiddle
That's a
Draven
Draven.
is such a scary lane.
That is a
Please-
Draven.
Please give me Fiddle Draven. Otherwise, you can play like Thresh Draven, but now this does promote the Tahm Kench Kaisar lane, or just the Gragas Kaisar that LGD did find a lot of success with last round.
Yes, they did.
Gragas
So
viable
Grag-
flex pick, and also very solid jungler into the Xin Zhao, offers a lot of disengage potential, and I wouldn't say better ganks, especially not early on, but decent amount of utility, and does scale a lot better than the Xin Zhao.
Remember when Gragas was a mid laner? Those were good times.
Yeah, way back when,
Gragas
dude.
is flexing in the jungle, flexing towards the bottom lane. No, scratch that. He's no longer flexing towards the bot lane. Right now, Gragas is flexing top in jungle because we have an Alistar locked in to pair with the Kaisa. LGD hovering
Please.
over the Morgana, but it's the Fiddlesticks we want to see. No,
No!
it's a Draven Morgana bot lane for LGD.
I mean, LGD did play Morgana in the first game, so I was pretty happy to see that. RD. His bindings in the first game were really good. A lot of LGD's early leads were from him hitting those on priority targets. He saw Tahm Kench come out crisp, get snared up, get completely ECC'd with someone in his mouth, resulting in 2 kills for LGD countless times in that early game of game 1. And, well, it's no Fiddlesticks, but it's still somewhat of a show, considering we've seen just how good this guy is at hitting his binds.
On the second rotation of bans, however, LGD are going to take out. They're going to also take out the Kled from the flexible picks for FPX, really, because Kled can go mid, Kled can go top. Akali and LeBlanc are FPX's bans of choice.
So the Kled is obviously Joinby's signature pick, and as you said, Gimgun can also play it, just really good engage potential. Yasuo you kind of have to ban when the enemy team has Gragas and Alistar, so because it gives him way too many options of getting into the backline. Now, Aftershock Rise is a possibility for top lane, but it's also a decent champion to have mid, especially with Lissandra banned out. So I'd say your only option to take into it. I'd say Cassiopeia is very greedy, especially into the Xin Zhao pick. Oh, that could be a flex Zion pick.
Somehow, I have a feeling that this Morgana could be flexing mid, so Rice can go top, and they could have a Fiddlestick spot.
Yes! 9.2
That's a
Silas,
silence.
dude. This is a new champion for all intents and purposes, to be honest, and he is insane. Okay, so FPX LGD tend to end games around the 23, 24, 25 minute mark, but if Silas gets to level 16, his ult is on a 9-second cooldown, and he can really start to just slam his way through the enemy team with the Soul Shackles, with the Realm Warp, I suppose, with the Maiden of the Mist. Okay, I had a Silas gank my lane in solo queue like yesterday, and he got the Yorick Maiden, and then just sent it down the lane to siege some stuff. It wasn't
But
very
this-
effective, but it was cool.
Yeah, but this is Scion mid. Yorick was picked to try and counteract the Scion because it is a very good matchup for Yorick, considering that he can just circle away from the Scion and just pelter him down with the ghouls. But he's going to be up against the Silas top. Silas versus Yorick, Rise versus Scion. Could be an interesting matchup all around the board. The bottom lane should be where we have our eyes on, because it's a Draven!
It is a Draven, yeah, so all your eyes on the bottom lane, especially because, as you've said, these solo lanes are fairly neutralizing. Both of them kind of just farm out the early game, farm out the mid game, become legitimate either team fight or split push threats, depending on which champion you're looking at. But no real losing lanes across the board besides that Draven that should apply a good amount of use onto the Kaisar lane this time around.
We'll have to wait and see within the Summoner's Rift's walls. These two teams have in store for us. Reminder, the FPX are tied right now 1-1 with LGD. After LGD upset Fun Plus Phoenix on the second game, they've already shown good signs in game number 1, but Fun Plus were just stronger in that first game. Now Doinby back, well, not back on a carry role, really. He's back on a more tanky / supportive role, but he's got an engage like he likes to have.
And looking at LGD in particular as well, now that we've mentioned FPX, just look at that Xin Zhao, look at that Draven, look at these champions that do so goddamn well in the early game, and you saw just how influential these three of Condi, Kramer, RD, the bot side of this lineup of LGD can really just take over the map by themselves, and that's exactly what these champions can do in the early game. That's the early game that LGD have played for as we do jump into game. AC, take it away.
Oh, and it's the third and last game between Fun Plus Phoenix and LGD. Once again, the first drag is going to be an Infernal. And the Fun Plus squad is on the blue side, already getting invaded on the bottom side of their jungle.
LGD smells something is up though for the counter invade, because this was exactly what happened to Morgana in first game. We could see a fight here.
Draven,
Kramer!
what are you doing? Body slam goes wide. Flash comes out of Kramer.
A lot of respect giving him over to Kramer there. We could have seen the sound cue just be fully charged up before there was a chance at the ward being placed, but sadly, I believe someone stepped out of the bush, so there wasn't much to be had there. You would have ideally chained it with the Gragas body slam, and that would have been a very dead Draven had he not flashed away there. Conqueror for this Draven is very good for Kramer, just because it means he has more kill pressure in the lane as well. If RD does manage to connect one of these bindings that he's so famous for hitting, he should have a fairly good time of it. Now, the ward here...
what?
Magical Journey.
Yikes! No, but I wanted to pull your attention over to Doinby's mid lane, considering that he's up against a ranged matchup. He's packing his Unsealed Spellbook.
Unsealed Spellbook's fairly fine on turn, and as you've been a big critic of this grasp into melee matchups in the past, it's still, you know, fairly solid in and of itself. There's the grasp on Silas, actually, so any melee matchup he finds himself in, happy to sustain through with the W. When he gets to about 15% health, he suddenly heals for about 30, 35. So, yeah, he's fine. As well as that, now you see the Xin Zhao taking red buff, going for immediately the Scuttle Crab, or even a gank bot lane. Ran from top jungle to bot lane right now.
Oh my, he secured the Scuttle Crab in the meantime, but he will be spotted out, or I think he was spotted out. He will not engage immediately because he does not know the whereabouts of Tian on the Gragas. So he's going to revert back into his own jungle.
And now the amount of wards just being dictated towards the bottom side from FunPlus did reveal the path of Condi there. Otherwise, that was a very surprising gank, because you really do not expect the Xin Zhao to take his red, then run all the way down to bot lane instead of taking those Scuttle Crabs. But it was exactly what happened. Binding!
Binding on Kaisa, not going to grant anything over to LGD, but Condi is still lingering around the bottom lane. He wants to engage, he wants to promote that 3v2, but now with Tian around the corner.
That was really, really nicely played by RD. And yep, as you said, Tiana's around the corner, and as well as that, Kramer not have flash, there's a real possibility of him being picked up here. And now, Gimgoon, as soon as he gets lane priority onto this Yorick, starts to look for a roam onto Yuki potentially.
Not going to get anything. Yuki's fairly safe underneath his structure. He's still going to go in. Guess the chain's over. Look at the damage being applied here. He's tower diving. Could be taking a little bit more damage than what he should. He's going to be forced back, but he forced the flash out of Yuki regardless.
Free flash pretty much from Yuki there, being forced because FPX managed to get priority in the top lane, had the Scion. I'm unsure of how to feel towards the fact that Silas had to tank the turret there instead of the meat shield of the Scion, because Scion was out of mana, so he wasn't really contributing much besides his meat shield of a body. So I'd say Doinby could have done a better job of tanking that up, but there's teleport coming through, there's a Condi looking in your bush.
Teleport. If Doinby stays, he will perish, and he looks like he wants to stay a little bit longer for this wave that's crashing down in his tower.
Jungler's
gonna meet. Gragas doesn't have a lot of mana on his pool. Condi has the upper hand, considering that he does have the Hail of Blades, but Tian is gonna disengage, respecting the potential damage output from Condi.
Incredibly late blue buff here from Condi, but you know, the Scion pick mid lane does not really need it, so there's no rush to get it down like there is for the Rise, who really needs that second blue buff as soon as possible. And I said earlier, RD was super clean, and that's exactly what's happening here. He's hitting his bindings onto the priority targets, which is pretty much anyone in this lane, really, because you deny the Alistair headbutt if you can snare him before it goes through. You also obviously lock down priority target for Kaisa.
Oh no, RD taking a lot of damage, procs all the 5 marks of Kaisa. And it's going to force RD out of that brush. Get out of my turf.
Cast a curse. I miss his fiddlesticks, but immediately you do see the rotation towards mid lane from Crisp. Comes Tian.
Predator Gragas is a very fast, bulky boy, roaming through the top side of Condi's jungle, but no effect to be applied so far. As 3 members of FunPlus Phoenix want hands on Yuki, but Yuki's just falling behind into his tier 2 tower to defend himself for now. Condi right around the corner as well. They want some more interaction, or they want some more collapses from their teammates, but LGD taking no risks this game.
Could look for rotation mid as well, but you know what's disgusting? Look at this Xin Zhao's health. You see how it's full. You see how he's done a full clear of his jungle, has not based yet, and still has a charge of the refillable potion.
I do see that, yes.
That's
And I
kind of
also
gross.
see him in the bot lane, accompanied by RD. LWX has no idea what's in store for him, so we might see a couple of summoners being popped here by FPX. The heal is off, the knockup goes down, the flash comes out.
There was no real possibility of diving that because they'd already committed spells from the Zins out. So, yep, happy to just force out the flash with that early
What is
binding.
going on here?
I think Doinby may take a tower hit if he's not careful, but here comes the next minion wave. Sound pushing in Rise early on. That's pretty much what you'd expect. Doinby, master of the Sound mid, playing it into these range matchups more often than not, and having a grand time of it regardless.
Nice pulverize with the entrance of Tian in the bottom lane.
Doinby
down, unstoppable onslaught right on top of Kramer, who flashes away. Decimating smash, and Tian secures first blood.
decimating smash right in Kramer's face, as you said, on managing to cask his way to victory there, taking the first blood, taking what you have to imagine will be that first Infernal Drake in favor of FPX here, and just securing vision around the Drake pit right now. Did not want to commit for it immediately, simply because they had to send the bot lane base to regen some health, buy their items, you know, that kind of thing. Condi's still very, very strong, a legitimate carry threat on Zinzao at this point in the game as well, so if they commit too early for anything, it's a very scary scenario, much like the one that our boy Kramer found himself in here. Good stagger out of the CC, waiting for the Black Shield. Then I do not think they were expecting Doinby to use the lane priority the way he did. He roamed into Fog of War, then immediately, as you said, on Choo Choo Train down to the bot lane with that priority that he found for himself. Tian's presence there, just the cherry on top. Last hit with the barrel kind of made that even more of a secure play. But FPX, pretty much no summoners across the bottom side of this map right now. So look for Condi to start doing something proactive.
Maybe, but given the fact that LGD have virtually no priority across the board, maybe top lane with Yorick getting some priority top. We see a follow-up game from Fun Plus Phoenix right on top of Kramer. Immediately the killer Kramer, explosive cast and the knock-up kills Kramer for the second time, back-to-back in favor of Fun Plus Phoenix.
Who needs Yasuo when you have well, everyone else on the Fun Plus lineup? Yeah, just really, really good play into the spot lane, punishing the Straven early on. We said this champion is so good at snowballing, and that's exactly what FunPlus are denying right now, stopping any sort of cashing in on the axes, on the League of Draven, on the passive, on anything right now. FunPlus just stopping LGD right in there. With Doinby, you may be in trouble. You have the Scion of it, but you also may have attention being given over to the Scion once the dust kind of settles around what is a very, very scary looking bot lane.
Maybe. FunPlus X are shutting down Kramer on the Draven, but they're not actually making a proactive plays towards that dragon, respecting a lot of the potential damage output from Condi. Don't want the 50-50 smite steal. Don't want to take any risks that could put LGD in the driver's seat here. But regardless, it's towards the top lane that we're going to turn our attentions to as the
Maiden of the Mist.
The Maiden of the Mist, the Eulogials.
Eulogy of the Isles. Sorry, I just repeated. I like it. It's such a cool name, dude.
I know.
But yeah. Anyway, so that around is fairly reasonable. But massively being carved out in favor of LGD right now in the top side, especially because maybe the Silas's roam mid lane was not quite as efficient as you would have expected, especially since Yuki's flashless rise was not as punished, perhaps as hard as we could have seen.
Yeah,
but Lies completely having a good time.
Look what it costed him. I mean, Lies is 20 CS ahead right now of that Silas, and that's very, very relevant. It's in the rest of the advantage that FPX have over LGD.
And this is a lane that FunPlus themselves, they said, look, we're going to take the Silas. We're going to Silas top. We don't need the Silence solo lane. We'll just have a good time with it right now. Yeah, much just FPX digging their own graves on the map. Direct attention to the bottom. Keep on Kramer on this Draven, but as he said, not really claiming too much across the board as the pressure they're getting down there.
No, I mean, you would expect FPX after all those engages to at least claim some tower platings, but that's not even happening in their favor right now. They're just getting the picks and backing off immediately. LGD now might be looking for the gank here.
Tian.
Maybe the 2v2, but that 2v2 is going to be turning into a 4v3 as the teleports are being casted in. Doinby is the first one to go in. RD is going to collapse into the hands of LWX, who right now, the choo-choo train forces the flash out of Yuki into the tri-bush. The
That was pretty
LGD yet
cool.
again taking a short end of the stick of the trade.
So that's a pretty cool sound train at the end, and just almost getting the rise, forcing us so many teleports being forced towards the bottom side. Both mid laners on the action on the fun. Turn around from Fun Plus to dissuade LGD from any sort of aggression there. Sad. LGD did not manage to turn it around, did not manage to kill. The fact they had him down despite this rise doing a sizable amount of damage because of the fact he. So yeah, Fun Plus further lead on that bottom half of the map.
And now with a 2,000 gold lead, FPX have virtually shut down LGD's early game. And I mean, if they manage to secure game number 1 by shutting down LGD's early game, if they follow through with this type of pressure, with these types of advantages, they might as well secure game number 3. But it's still very much open. 3-0 LGD still haven't secured any picks whatsoever. But FPX are actually pressuring down on the map yet again.
I like how the vision on the map is directed solely towards this side. You have that solitary top side that is being cleared out by Conley.
There it is.
Now, because they've seen Conley on that solitary pin, all you need, you just have Fun Plus start that dragon.
And finally, after all this time, FPX finally make a proactive move towards a big objective. It's going to be 8% or 10%, mind you, after the buffs on the dragon. Bonus AP and 80 and everyone of FPX.
FPX first trial is very important, but just further adding to that small lead they've got for themselves in the bottom lane. Have that gold lead, have that on the back foot, have this Kaisar in a good position to carry. Now, looked a little bit suspect in the games this series. They will attribute part of that to just how insane Kramer is, but can we see a similar carry performance that we saw from Kramer in game 2 from LWX this time around on the Kaisar?
LWX right now is moonwalking around in the bottom lane. Something's wrong with the spectator. We apologize for the inconvenience, but we do see Kramer trying to step forward and gain some adoration stacks back from the 2 times he's perished so far this game. He hasn't been able to cash in anything, but surely when he does, it'll be a huge income for Kramer. What is going on here?
Spectator lags galore. A little bit of lag apparently as well from, let's blame Opal's Chinese internet. But
yes.
yeah,
it's easier like that.
It is. Life's good, but life isn't so for this Silas right now being blown out by Yorick and his Legion of Union, his single girlfriend.
Respectable damage being applied here on LG. It's not his wife. It's the wife that he stole from the Ruined King.
Do you read the lore?
I do. Unstoppable onslaught down the mid lane. It's glorified clear being utilized here by Doinb, who is now looking to secure first blood tower in the mid lane.
Am I the only one that flinches when I see Ghost Healers as summoners? I think that's like the default summoners when you play the game at the start during the tutorial. That's what the spellbook has chosen for Doinb this time around. Now, as you said, the unstoppable onslaught being committed and just full control in terms of immediate vision around that mid lane. Fun Plus Gaming lineup. Sorry, Fun Plus Phoenix lineup. And now looking for some sort of plays are defensive, much like the rest of the LGD gaming lineup, because they do not want to lose or hemorrhage any more resources they have been. And now, for the first time in this series, it feels like Fun Plus are in full control of this early game.
It seems so. Connie hasn't been able to really have any proactive plays in favor of
Kramer.
LGD. Oh, Crisp. He's looking in the tri-bush for that dive on Kramer. Might not be a good idea. Stand aside.
Almost super cool.
Another demolish. That's going to be tower number 1 for Fun Plus Phoenix. First blood tower. Gold goes into the pockets of Doinb, shared with Tion as well. And Fun Plus Phoenix is starting opening up holes in LGD's side of the map. Now Kramer is being collapsed. The body slam is denied. The close sidestep. Kramer, what are you doing, you madman?
Mechanical God, but here comes the bind.
In comes the bind. Connie is still looking for a potential way to go in on that fight, but not going to find anything just yet, as the teleport is also casted in by Lies to depressure the bottom side of LGD's map.
Going wide from RD that was uncharacteristic and a little bit unfortunate for this lineup, but really, really, really nicely played from Kramer, and you're seeing exactly why this about his transfer to this league, about his performances. People have said he's 1v9. That's exactly what we're seeing this time around, despite the fact he's being kept down. look at your display of mechanics that we saw, and yeah, just really, really good play. Now, Condi, he has this early alert, but now he doesn't have the Camille anymore. Not finding the raw amount of impact he had in the first 2 games. And
Not
it's
at
really
all.
sad from this next patch, there's no more Camille jungle.
There isn't. So he's trying to he did try to pull as much out of her as he could. But now we have an engage coming in. We're not really engaged with the collapse of the ghouls plus the maiden on top of Gungun. Regardless, Kramer.
Gimgoon.
Apologies.
Yes.
Low resolution.
So Gimgoon just scaling Silas right now, has a solid amount of cooldown reduction, stealing more ultimates apparently. RD, another free Q,
This could
but
be
it doesn't
dangerous
matter too
for
much.
Front Plus Phoenix. They're going to be forced to disengage away from the Rift's Herald. Maybe they're still trying to commit to it. The eye is open. LGD
Condi's
slowly
here.
but surely are going in on the objective. They want to steal for themselves. However, Gimgoon
Don't be
does
bored.
have Xin Zhao's ultimate ready. Teleport is connected. Look at the Xin Zhao's ultimate being stolen by Gimgoon and splitting away everyone on LGD's side. The first one to go down is actually Chris. LGD have a numerical advantage, but look at LWX
LW.
shredding through the backline, already securing a double kill, looking for the triple. FPX are clearing house on LGD, leaving Kramer alone to fight off FPX.
Kramer trying to salvage some say from that fight, did manage to pick up a kill on the tail end of that, but it is not enough. Not enough to in favor of LGD right then. You saw how clean that engage was. So it was coming through from Doinby, but this headbutt pulverize from was so crisp. Look at that. 3 people knocked up, putting everyone the sun rejoin the fight and just clean turnaround of the team. Despite the fact LG picked up a kill at the start, Haas come out, then people just get picked up left and right by this Kaisar who's been given so much room to breathe, such space. And for all the space that the Kaisar has been given, that's been denied from Kramer on this 0 DPS coming out in multiple occasions from this trade. Yeah, every time he hits one axe, it is very devastating, but there were not enough axes for the roar coming out of FPX there.
He did manage to secure a kill on Doin B. And he did manage to claim some of those adoration stacks. No, it's not even that. It's the fact that he got the 400 gold from the shutdown on Cyan, plus he got 475 from the adoration stacks. So that's a lot of gold that Kramer just secured for himself.
True. Now, the Zhonya's Hourglass Rush from RD is fairly standard. Solo queue Morganas, I think it's standard for competitive as well. You just want to flash forward into the R. So you have to consider that teamfight advantage would go to LWX here, unless there's some sort of a clutch Morgana ultimate, unless RD can find his way into the backline, simply because you have the Zeke's Convergence going to Callister, and you'll have a Kaisar that's really getting a lot more support from her team compared to even like his teamfight. It's just going to get more intense from this point onwards.
Second attempt here at trying to secure the Rift's Herald in favor of Fun Plus Phoenix. Well, LWX is just clearing waves, waiting for the tower to go slowly but surely clearing out waves from the enemy team. Unstoppable Onslaught. He tries to go for the Rise. Rise tries to fight back, gets knocked up. It's a 2v2, turning into a 3v2 as Tion secures the kill on Yuki.
Bit of a delayed rotation from there,
what?
but you know,
What? What is going on?
Opal's internet is thinking emoji, but Rift Herald's certainly not. She knows exactly what to do. She's not thinking about it. Oh, neither is Chris.
Oh, FPX going for a tier 2 dive here as the Shelly is going to collapse the tower. Everyone goes in for LGD as RD collapses to the hands of Silas. Shelly gets another swing at the inhibitor tower, and what an easy structure to take down by FPX.
Okay, I did not realize how fed this AP Grag is from T actually, and now looking at that raw damage onto RD's Morgana, you can see exactly just how scary this champion is. It's the EW after the Black Shield fell out, about 3/4 of this Morgana's health. Just such
LGD,
a dominating early game from FPX.
It is.
That we've seen in the series, and LGD feel like they're out of their element right now.
And they're running out of room to breathe. That's the biggest point here to make. LGD already have an inhibitor open in the middle, and even though their side lanes are fairly secure, they still have to deal with the waves need to be clear in the mid lane due to the lack of a tower. Now, LGD being running out of room to breathe, they still have the potential of the split push from the Yorick that they can rely on to maybe get some room, maybe get some extra breathing room, maybe get some structures, get some extra gold in the red team's pockets.
Quickly, AC,
Mhm.
QR code to send in your for whatever team you think will win.
That only works on the Chinese stream, friend.
Not work if you hold up your
No.
phone to your monitor now or with tragic. What is actually, however, is this Baron looking
Mhm.
like they're gonna confidently secure this next time it rolls around, and you know
It's
that's enough
there.
that they can start it and then immediately peel off and look for a fight. You have Silent that can tank, you have Gragas, still, and of course the Alistair with Unbreakable Will still available for him. But nope, it's not going to be the Baron this time around. It's going to be getting mid priority, and either the roll or a
Oh,
fight.
look at that damage! What just happened? Yuki got solo killed by Tion!
What? Sleep on this AP Gragas damage, and well, he showed you exactly why you should stop sleeping on him. Even with the Morgana Black Shield there, even with the rest of the LGD team there, we just ouch,
And that
dude.
just secured
In a way,
FPX
ouch.
a Baron Nashor. In goes Draven's ultimate to look at the Baron at
Teleport.
4,000 HP.
Game good.
Condi can still go in. The headbutt pulverized
Oh.
knocks up 3 members of LGD, forcing the flash out of RD over the wall. But Condi is down for the count. That's the smiter down on LGD. FPX secured the Baron for 5 members of their team. And an ace to go with it. Oh, wait, never mind. No. It looks like Lies went full zoom and took out tier 2 bot.
Champion now just having time of his life and by himself, but not by himself really. He's got his wife with him, just having a grand time of this Yorick. The rest of the team does, as you said, that Hellrise, absolutely beautiful from Chris. Now that he's off the Tam Kench, starts to find hard engagement. Your sound, look, he's zoning 3 enough time for this Silas to teleport. Doesn't really start, just happy to split push, and then the head rise into the Sion ultimate, into the unstoppable onslaught. Beautiful. And now LWX had to flashback into the pit here so that his jungler with the Baron, but hey.
It is. And a double kill for Doinby now with 5 members of Baron Nashor. Lions needs to keep on side lanes if he wants to have any type of profit and force FPX to really split up their attention, but that's not going to happen as FPX are attacking every single lane with no exception. Focusing down in the bottom lane tier 2 tower right now. Doinby in the front line with a shield as big as his health bar. Looking to collapse on Kramer, but that's the tier 2 bottom lane tower down. Silas top lane facing off against Lies. He can't out push the Yorick.
You know what would be 300 Maiden of the Mist, drop her top lane by her, then pressure both of the other 2 lanes.
That'd be a 400 IQ play, but one that Lies cannot commit to right now as he needs the Maiden 100% of the times with him. It's actually on cooldown right now. So it's not a good trade-off here for LGD.
Yeah.
FPX still trying to take down the inhibitor.
Unfortunate in a way. Silas starting to build some real AP. Has weakness in the core build right now, but longer the game goes on, the more of a relevant damage threat. Like a bruiser echo of sorts, where he'd one-shot you late game either way.
Lies
And now
wants to fight.
even with
Lies wants to fight, but so does Alistar knocking up the Xin Zhao, and in comes Sion, takes down the structure, looking for the Maiden, who gets immediately collapsed after being summoned. Second inhibitor structure is down for the count. FPX looking dominant in the third and last game, showing that the second game of LGD was nothing but a fluke. Flash out. Towers of the Nexus are under siege. Kramer doing his best to deal damage, but it's just not enough as Sion takes everything in his path. The first Nexus tower is down. The second one goes nearly down afterwards. Silas on the front line taking brunt of the damage. Lives scuttling them away as Doinby collapses to the hands of Draven. They're successfully fighting off FPX in their map, and they buy themselves another 5 minutes.
Turnaround from LGD there, and I don't know if they'll get 5 minutes, but they'll at least get 2. A little bit more room to breathe, more time to wait for the backup, and now you have that sound, and you saw FPX's zealous in their commitment there, dropping despite flashes out of almost everybody on this LGD gaming lab. Respect to the raw amount of damage. And LWX right now at one point did not have the Kai'Sa ultimate available to him at all after using it to skirt around Nexus turrets initially as well. So not a fight that FPX could have further. They ran out of mana, they gradually ran out of health, and good holding on from LGD there, as you said.
Yeah, but it's a fight against the time right now, as FPX are still leading by 11,000 gold at the 25-minute mark. LGD have very little room. Aha, we're back. Okay. So everything went boom. We apologize for that, but stuff is coming back slowly but surely. And we're back with FPX sieging the base of LGD, collapsing down on the towers and taking the Nexus home with them. LGD trying to fight tooth and nail, but Kramer is down. Lies as the last man standing. And game set and match goes in favor of Plus Phoenix.
And what a time to come back in the game as you see FunPlus, our favorite team of the past couple of weeks, our favorite team of the split right now in completely dominating form, do take down the Godslayers of LGD Gaming, managing to upset them in Game 2. However, LGD can pretty much reflect on this series in a manner, taking complete control of the early game in Game 1, taking complete control of the entire game in Game 2. Game 3, yeah, a couple of questions.
Yep, and the questions still remain. Can LGD come back in the second half of the spring split, or will they remain in the bottom half? They showed some really good signs against one of the top teams, but at the end of the day, FunPlus Phoenix remain undefeated in the LPL.
And Doinby's signature silent pick coming in paying dividends for them there. Both Korean solo laners having a good amount of influence, but it was this jungle Gragas that really started to get the ball rolling, shut down the Draven early on, took control of the mid to late game, secured objective after objective, and got a nasty one shot on the rise.
And that one shot was the last nail in LGD's coffin. Unfortunate draft overall for LGD, who barely tanks into their lineup, and it costed them a lot. Yorick was a fun pick, but I mean, Silas managed to really deter his wave clear overall. But that being said, FunPlus Phoenix remain in the top of the leaderboard in the LPL spring split. We're going to pass it over to our analyst desk led by Ray Richu, who's going to break down the best of 3 series in LGD.
Thank you, AC and Ibriz. We are back on the desk to break down FunPlus X's game and series victory over LGD Gaming. Bit of an iffy series for FPX, especially that game number 2, but wow, did they bring it back in that game 3. Talk me through it, guys.
Well, a Nexus exploded. Nothing else to see here. We've always been at war with Eurasia. No.
What?
Oh wow, pulling out the 1984 references. That's not something I expected to hear here, Louis.
Anyway, so, you know, really decent draft here coming in from FPX. They finally figured out that banning Olaf and picking Kai'Sa might be a decent decision. So they put Coney on a champion that, you know, objectively you could say is pretty good on the Xin Zhao, but he hasn't really been looking that hot on it. He hasn't really found the groove with his team on it, and we saw this again here, where Tian just completely outshone him, even in the early game, where they're supposed to be stronger than Gragas. They've got some really decent bot ganks off, got them ahead, and from there on they had a gigantic team fighting comp. I mean, Choo Choo Train, Sterox, Scion coming in from the side, and they just stomped the game until the end at that point.
It's definitely great to see FPX drop the weighted armor. They tried to play that disengaging style for 2 games, as I was saying. They're trying to counter what LGD was bringing this game. They just tried to play their own style. They went for their aggressive skirmishing composition. A little bit of a difference this time around, not so much focused on the mid-jungle duo, as just the 2 of them making plays towards that bot side, getting the bot lane snowballed, and denying Kramer, who has been the win condition throughout for the side of LGD. So I think it was I was really impressed by that, and the Draven pick kind of went heavily punished. So I'm looking forward to seeing if FPX can keep up this undefeated streak, but LGD, they showed a lot of promise.
And you talk about the weight and armor coming off for FPX. I think LGD picked that armor up and then put some more armor on because honestly, that Xin Zhao pick coming out of Condi just lost all momentum in the jungle. He tried to make an early play work, unfortunately did not. And from there, he just had no pressure on the map. With Xin Zhao, you really need to get that first gank working or else it doesn't work. We already talked about the Draven and how that didn't work. And honestly, when you have two elements that are so heavily dependent on the early game going well, not going well, that's really all you can do, and you put all your eggs into the wrong basket.
Right. Looking forward to, I think, the next games from both these teams, guys. I mean, before today's series started, we were saying FPX is undoubtedly the top team in the LPL right now, top of the charts, and LGD is coming off of that victory over IG. After this 2-1 series, what do we think about both these teams? FPX still looking strong, and LGD still kind of... we're not too sure what to think about them now.
I mean,
give me your
LGD, yeah, LGD performing like a top of the pack, like top half of the table team now, because they've seen them take down IG convincingly, and now at least take the fight to to FPX in these first two games. So even though that third game went away from them so far, I still think that they can make playoffs if they continue at this level. I think they've got a lot of strengths, and if Condi can still have an early game impact. We saw him struggle, but he almost got that first pick if it wasn't for RD messing up completely and trolling with blinding. So I'm looking forward to seeing what LGD can continue to do going forwards. But they've got their next match coming up against Victory 5, so we'll see if they can compete with that middle of the pack sort of team.
Mm-hmm. And FPX on the other side, I think today they got a reality check, especially Tian, that like he's been rising in confidence like for weeks now, going all the way from Sejuani in week 1, all the way to on the Aatrox last week, stealing kills from Doinby. So I think it was kind of shown that he might not be as hot as he might have expected. He's been out jungled in two out of the 3 series, and I feel like he can pipe down now a bit, focus back on the fundamentals, and I think this is overall a good thing that the series went to 3 games for him.
I feel like when you look at every major region, you have right now, especially this season, you have the LCK, you have the LPL, and you have the LCS. There's one team that just pops off and stands way above everyone else, and FPX and the LPL has just been so dominant that their own worst enemy is themselves. As Lewis was saying, it really comes down to, does Tien value himself? Is he trying to 2 picks that are just out of the ordinary? It just seems like when he does things that are meta and standard, he's going to be unstoppable. So I don't see any team that can do anything about this in the LPL right now.
Yeah, it's looking to be really impressive what FPX can do, but I'm thinking that maybe they were trying to hide something today. Maybe they were trying to show as little as possible by going for a style that isn't really that optimal. And then in that game 3, we're forced to kind of resort to their usual tools because they've got a week break now before they go up against OMG. And then on Sunday of next week, so they go up against IG, who we know are fairly high up in the table, and they've got a long break before then. So maybe they're just trying to hide as much as possible, not show all their cards, so they can pull out some surprises in that series.
With how IG's going, I'm not entirely sure that they might need all that they can bring to the table, but we're still waiting for IG to turn this season around. They've been able to farm some victories over lower tier teams, but will be interesting to see if they can actually be a challenger to Fun Plus next week.
Alright guys, I believe the next series between Rook Warriors and Suning has already started, so we're still getting our casters set up for the next set, but we're going to go for a really quick honor break, but the game is still going to be on the stream, so we'll have the casters live with you guys very shortly.
Take charge. Who's next in line? Can you make that? Now charge and shake eyes, remain great while I pay homage. They always said that pressure can make diamonds, so keep climbing all the way up, that's where you'll find me. Right next to the legends, I go off my brethren, said goodbye to the old me. I'ma make sure that you know me. After this here, you gon' owe me. Didn't choose a game, it chose me. You know what G-O mean to an OG, let's go. Fight, who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now where's the time? Get out of your mind. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, this world is mine. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, get out of your mind. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, this world is mine. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Yep, get your back off the wall. Come on, yep, come one, yep, come on. Get up, yep, get your back off the wall. Come on, yep, come one, yep, come on.
Hello, everybody, and welcome unofficial broadcasters of the LPL. My name is me for the Rogue Warriors going up against Sungzoom, which we can see on screen now. How are you? You have a beautiful accent. You've probably heard it 100 times, so that is utterly. It's like I use the expression violently. Yours is violently beautiful.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's a nice niche to hit, I gotta say.
Indeed, but we are into Sungzoom versus the Rogue Warriors. We do see a replay up on screen now. Of course, very interesting the fact that Rogue Warriors 15th place on the ladder are holding their own almost against Sungzoom, which is second right now.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue Warriors, to be fair, had a little bit of a difficult start to the season. They were pretty much up against all of the top teams. You saw like Invictus Gaming and go up against them, go against RNG. So these guys didn't have the easiest of starts to the season, so it's kind of hard to judge the skill level that they're at. But when we're looking at like another top team, which is Sunning Gaming, for them to be able to hold their own in this is a lot better, at least a better warning for these guys.
Exactly. Right now we look at the scoreboard. Rogue Warriors sitting on 43,000 gold, while sitting only on 39. So they've built themselves up about a 4,000 gold lead. And if we look down the items and the kills, we're seeing like the Kaiser is ahead of her opposite number, but the Olaf and the Syndra really seem to be getting online this game.
Yeah, and I think it makes it very difficult for the Kaiser to try and be that big factor that we expect from her. I'm going to hold my breath for a second.
Interrupt. The Urgot is in so much trouble. The Olaf trying to come in and save the day. Is he able to do it? Can he be the hero? He might just be. The Fear saving the Urgot. He is going to be able to stay alive. The Alistair will fall as well. Still trying to get a gank up on the top side, has turned around disastrously, as that is a team fight wipe, basically. What the hell? How did the Urgot survive that?
Well, that's going to be my point in case for this one, because when you look at exactly how the Kaiser wants to play these fights is get in there, get involved in that nitty-gritty and just be that big damage dealer, but it's nigh on impossible to do that when you look at the composition the Rogue Warriors have. Urgot wants to just get in your face and gobble you up as soon as he can. You've got to try and dodge out that Syndra stun as well. The entire comp from Rogue Warriors just eats Kaiser alive, and we saw it just in this replay, which we're now going to have a quick look at here. And you can see now getting caught out as the Urgot, not in the best of situations, but super tanky at this point in time. And when you've got a heal that comes in to keep him alive, the fear as well on that Kaiser coming in clutch and on a support point. So seeing that as an Alistair is one of the saddest things ever, because you don't do a lot of damage as the cow, but when a kill like that gets taken away from you at the last second, you just want to cry.
Oh, the fear, like the Ignite was ticking down on the Urgot, but he just refused to die there, take that up, and now 12 kills to 6, sitting on, well, it was a 4,000 gold lead for Rogue Warriors, now almost an 8,000 gold advantage for this team. They are in such a good spot, but you know, with the next Dragon up, what is the next objective? They will have themselves three Ocean Dragons, in their back pocket, with Baron, coming up coming up soon is the goal for Rogue Warriors now to simply stall out the game, wait for that Baron to arrive, and then shove the waves down.
Well, see, they don't want to stall too heavily because, of course, you've got that Lucian that'll tend to fall off a little bit. Sion would get to those items. You can see he's just picked up that Gargoyle Stoneplate as well. So he's going to be getting pretty tanky. And Kai'Sa as well, even if she does struggle against this team, will hit a point where she's just an absolute monster. So we want to make sure that Rogue Warriors are keeping themselves going. So I like what they're doing here, which is try and group up with 4 people, pushing towards these towers. But as well, I'd like to see her got off on the side lane, which is what we're seeing. Come across if needs be, if things get a little bit dicey and horrendous.
Exactly. So see, they actually do have Baron now, so they're getting that siege online, and Seong are being pulled around left and right on the bottom side. They could try forward potentially. We are seeing they stepping up quite forwards, and the turret actually does go down, and Seong are simply playing back, not wanting really to pull.
Yeah, that's one of the more difficult ones to try and hold on to if you're on the side of Sunning Gaming. You've got to be very careful of those flanks, particularly as we said with Urgot hover around that mid lane. A few moments pop his face. Now as well, we're going to see them trying to push in, get that mid lane turret as well. So this is just a complete wipe now going towards that top lane as well. No more outer towers will be standing for Sunny. And you mentioned it already, but that Baron coming up, those towers can be crucial in just trying to hold on to the vision that you have in around that Baron area. If Rogue Warriors get this last tower, they can start to throw a few pink wards in around this red side jungle, and it becomes way more difficult to walk into that pit blind.
Need to be very careful, but for the bright side of Sungung, they still have their inhibitor turrets all available as well as the inhibitors behind them. So at the very minimum, they can say to themselves, well, we're not losing one lane automatically. We can still try and out macro Rogue Warriors. So I'll have to see if they can pull that off. Right now, it isn't like...
The red side is waning a little bit, so try and push. You can see now they're getting vision in around that Cloud Drake, but I think realistically, that's not an objective that you want to try and commit to right now. I'd rather see them go up towards that Baron area, get the vision there, so when it does spawn in the next 3-4 minutes, they'll be able to have control of the area, and it makes it a lot easier then to punish maybe a stray Rogue Warrior who's gone a little bit too far forward.
Exactly. Let's see if Sunning is able to do that. But right now, playing back a little bit out of fear with the momentum that Rogue Warriors have secured themselves. And on the items, while we have a little bit of time to relax, the 2 things that catches my eye, the first one being the fully stacked Dark Seal hanging out on the Syndra. So having a very good game with Syndra, it feels like 3, 0, and 4 with 10 stacks.
Yeah, I think he'll hang on to the Dark Seal, though. I don't think he wants to go towards that Mages. It's more of a confidence play when you see that. A little bit of BM. I do like a sprinkle of BM in there as well, but I think realistically it's a bit dodgy to go up towards that. Just stick to the 10 stack. It's doing work for you at the moment, and then just try to finish out your items. You can see how well ahead that Syndra is. The Void Staff complete as well, alongside that Banshees and the Lubes. She's going to hurt, particularly if she gets onto the likes of SMLZ or even Weiwei in this one.
Indeed. So if he does get on top of this target, sitting at basically a whole item ahead of Maple's Lissandra here. And the other thing that catches my eye is, for a while, Redemption Olaf was the only acceptable Olaf build. And here, Zehu has said, no, Olaf Redemption isn't what you need. You need damage. You need a Black Cleaver and a BF sword on top of that to really, come out swinging. So, why would Zehu here go for this very, I use the word aggressive build coming out of the Olaf versus the supportive build that we did see pop up in popularity for a while?
To be fair, it's actually something I notice about LPL in general, is that the Olafs don't tend to go towards this redemption build. Instead, they do like that aggression, and I think that speaks volumes more about the LPL than just the Olaf builds. But yeah, I think realistically, it does give you that little bit more damage. And as I was saying before, everyone here is going to be pretty short range. Maple wants to be in there in the mix. Same with SMLZ, short range Kai'Sa. So when you're working as this Olaf, you're not really trying to provide the utility that the redemption comes from. Instead, you can just be that big angry Viking.
They're going in for an engage. However, can they get the targets? The back to fight has begun. The Sion not able to lock anyone down with that decimating smash, and looks like Rogue Warrior is backing away. Sion couldn't get the engage you were banking on.
Yeah, not quite able to get there. Now you can see Rogue Warriors will have set themselves up pretty well in this mid lane. Again, pushing in towards this tower. You got to be careful though with Sword Art back in base. This could be
Oh, lovely lock in there. Maple throwing himself into the lane, using that frozen dew by as much time as he can. Can the rest of the team blow up is the real question. Maple is the first one to blow. However, SMLZ is untouched, but so is Wuji on this Lucian. Maple throws himself in there, but he's the only one in, and he's the only one down. And Baron isn't long to come up soon.
No, not at all. And with Maple down, that's kind of your big engage tool. You're either relying on a great kick from Weiwei or Zhao to try and get into the middle here. It'll be tough when you're trying to go up against Zhao Yun, though, and Du Yu as well, who'll be playing that front line for the side of Rogue Warriors. One man down, teleport is available if they can try and push them off this Baron.
I mean, Lee Sin is alive, so they have the chance of a steal. Have to keep an eye on the Baron. Is hanging low, but they are trying to force an engage. They do lock onto SML. Kaiser, if they can eliminate, that is the team fight effectively won with them. A lovely Scion ultimate is going to buy time, but that is not long for this one. Even with that gargoyles, eventually the Titan of the top lane will go down. Even the unleashed power being used there from Hustling. And do they turn onto the Baron to, really try to utilize the fact because Lee Sin is still alive. He's still hanging around.
He is around, but he's also 2 levels down on Olaf. So this would be a miracle play from the substitute jungler. He's not going to get that chance.
Doesn't even get the chance to walk in. Weiwei is deleted. See in Syndra there, and that should be a free Baron coming into the side of Rogue Warriors. And with this, you have to feel like the inhibitor, if they fail to get at least 2 inhibitors, Rogue Warriors might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, I think this is really where you start to see the coffin closing on Sunny Gaming for this game at least. And I think you got to look at the compositions that are coming out. Obviously, Rogue Warriors went for a much earlier spiking team, and this is kind of what we've seen in Season 9, is that heavy emphasis on this 2-item spikes. And look at the team that they have. I mean, you got an Urgot, a Syndra, an Olaf, a Lucian. I mean, name more iconic duos with 2-item spikes here. This is exactly the composition you want for the current meta. And unfortunately, when you're looking at Sunny Gaming, they were looking at something that, yes, you've got that strong mid game, but still needs a little bit more time to start to come online. That Scion really wants to hit those, 4 or 5 items where he just becomes unkillable. Same with the Kaisa, who, yes, she comes on well when she has that Gwynsu's and the Runins, but unfortunately you got to wait that little bit longer. And Rogue Warriors were to find that opportunity to punish the time where they were the stronger ones in this game, and now they're knocking on the front door of Sunny's base.
Exactly, Rogue Warriors are feeling confident. Even Hussian's picked up that Medjai Soul Stealer, so feeling very confident as they are getting engaged on the bottom side. Scion doing a lovely job, but there aren't any full commit of. Scion is extremely tough to kill. They are trying their best, however. Urgot is also on the front line, being thrown out. There is the Brom. Urgot finally getting access to that line. Finally, the Scion does go down. Is that going to be the cue for the side of Seong to disengage? The Fear Beyond Death pulls him in and takes him out. And the Kaiser, SMLZ, trying to hold on to this game, decided to be a little bit... Oh, actually, what is this? Is Wuji playing all the way in? And, I mean, the fact that you are not safe on your fountain really tells the story of how Suing's been playing this game.
Yeah, and it says a lot more about Rogue Warriors. They may be down, but they're not out. There is still fight left in them.
Exactly, and that will be the Rogue Warriors taking, in my opinion, an upset victory against Suyoung. Rogue Warriors are 15th on the ladder of the LPL. Yes, they did have some very difficult teams, but so has Suyoung. Suyoung's only defeat is to the first place team of the LPL. So the fact they have another, at least one game down against Rogue, it's got to be tremendous praise given to Rogue Warriors there for being able to pull that off.
And it looked way cleaner as well. One of the criticisms that I had for Rogue Warriors coming into this was that their lane management and the wave management and their macro and that wasn't really on point. It wasn't where I wanted it to be. But coming into this is a confidence booster for them. Picking a mid-game spiking team and able to pull off an impressive closure to that game against a later scaling composition as well was just absolutely fantastic and speaks volumes about the growth that Rogue Warriors have seen from even a week or two ago.
Exactly, and if nothing else, you look at the stat lines, you think to yourself, well, Rogue Warriors have no chance. My initial thought when looking at this series was exactly that. And the fact that Rogue Warriors can take one game of Suing Gaming tells me they can take as many games as they need. So Rogue Warriors have a really, really good shot, in my opinion, of not only winning this series against Suing, but potentially even getting a 2-0 if they come up with a very strong drafting phase like they have done in this game.
Well, yeah, I think that's exactly it. I think if you can get that very early spiking team, you get a lot of those advantages. I'm surprised to see them get their hands on stuff like Lucian and stuff like that. Obviously, we weren't able to catch the draft phase, but I think getting rid of champions like Lucian that just seem to be so strong at the moment and removing those from the game can make things a little bit easier for us.
Exactly right. But we'll have to see what these teams decide to do when we do hit to the second game of the series. Do they change up their pick ban? What do they remove? Do you remove what beat you? Do you, like, for example, at the Olaf from that particular series and think to yourself, yeah, Olaf was the issue here? Or was it more we were making errors rather than the other team was outplaying us on the macro? So we're very interested to see what they do elect for when we do get into that one.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing that as well. You can see there the draft has popped up for a little bit, but we definitely wanted to get into this game too very quick.
Indeed, but guys, that'll be it from the classes desk. We do have our analyst desk waiting to talk about the Suing and Road Warriors. So we'll be handing it over to them.
Thank you, Eiras and Gosu Dreams. We are back on the desk with Sin, Perpuxer, and Ibris to break down Rogue Warriors' kind of upset win over Suning Gaming. Guys, what do we think?
So this is a team that in Demacia showed a lot of potential, and today that potential finally starting to be realized for the side of Rogue Warriors. Suning Gaming have only been defeated by FPX thus far in the league, so they've been looking so strong as one of the top contenders with the pieces of Flash Wolves and those members that performed so well last season. So to have Rogue Warriors, a team that's been in that lower echelon of picks, come up, a lower echelon of teams come up and take a game off of them is so important to the development of this roster. And I know their coach Stake is going to be singing their praises after that one.
Yeah, no, I think that game definitely showed that they're willing to make things happen. They're willing to put the first step forward in trying to get these wins. You saw the Urgot play in the top lane where he was able to stay alive, get the big fear off onto the Alistair, I believe it was, and somehow turn that fight around. Being willing to buy the Magi's on the Syndra, I mean, you can just see that they're playing with confidence here, and they're willing to make those attempts, make those risks, and close out those plays in order to get themselves advantages and close out the game.
Whoa, Coach Stake, that means that we have 3 former Flash Wolves in this game, with Maple and Sword Art, of course, being on the enemy team for Suning. But on the topic of Suning, you have the bot lane of SMLZ and Sword Art that are usually very consistent, but this usually facilitates Hacker, the normal starting jungler, to play around top. This time around, did not see Hacker, did not see topside play, did not see successful win for Suning Gaming.
Yeah, and if they continue performing like that, you got to think Suning will end up way, way back in the standings. But Suning struggling in that first game, but I got to imagine that if they play their style, they come back with a Hacker in the jungle as long as there's no issues that we're unaware of. They can still continue this one. And Soda and SMLZ have been so consistent for this roster, and even though they've been subbing in pieces here and there, Angels come in for a couple games. They have still been able to pick up these series, but is this the time now for Wuji to finally step up and show that level he did against Suning in the Demacia Championship, where they lost 2-1, but still ended up with a scoreline of something to the tune of 26, 6, and 29 across the series. He played like a monster back then, and I want to see him continue to develop in the LPL to the point where he can get back to that level, show that level of confidence again.
Yeah, sure. And while they were for this game, maybe it was a good opportunity, try to see what they might ending up putting him back in, see what they had to do.
Rogue Warriors, again, as you said, this is such an upset. Can they ride that more? Are we going to see consistency issues plague this relatively new team? Yes, they are hyper aggressive. More with a potential roster change in that jungle role, do you think? I don't know. It sounded cool at the time, okay? And then I was like, okay. But on the topic of Rogue Warriors, actually, we usually see them being the ones to change players because I believe their mid laner, Hwatian, is not super consistent, or he is consistent, but he's kind of consistently average, as it were. So Kongwing, usually known for higher highs, lower lows. So
Sometimes you want some hides. Right?
I mean, it's been interesting to see Zhao Yun come in for Zhang Guao, who's normally been the starter from what we've been seeing before. As Zhao Yun, he had that massive play on Urgot in the top side, so definitely showing up on the stage. I'm excited to see if he's going to be continuing playing into Zhao, one of the guys who's considered in the top 2 top laners in the league consistently, 3, up there with players like Zoom. So definitely proving themselves on the big stage, and yeah, Suning, they've got to clean this up. They've got to find ways to stop getting picked off and having these engages that just felt really sloppy and disjointed.
Yeah, talking about sloppy and disjointed, guys, I think looking forward to game number 2, because we were saying that a Rogue Warriors win looks like a bit of an upset win, but how much of that do you guys think is due to maybe Suning Gaming kind of underperforming in game number 1, and what do you guys think this is going to mean for that game 2? How do you think the series will end up shaking?
Well, I mean, one way you can look at this is you can say, look, they saw this as a potentially an easy match. They tried it out, a couple new things didn't work out for them. Rogue Warriors ran away with the game. And so if you're looking at that in your SN, you sit back, you go, okay, we're gonna reset. Maybe put in our starting jungler, maybe try out a more easy to execute team comp. And I think that that there's definitely some merit to say that was maybe them playing a bit more lax, a bit more, underestimating their opponents. But you have to give credit where credit is due. I think Rogue Warriors definitely capitalized on every opportunity that was available to them, and so they were able to end up running away with it. And we'll have to see if they're able to continue that.
How about you, Sin? What do you think?
Well, I expect fairly quick. They still showed a lot of pressure from the early game to mid game on SMLZ. Went 4-0-1 at the start, or ended up being felled in a fight. And there's definitely opportunities for Suning to snowball through that bot side. As we talked a lot about Wuji, but it's still SMLZ, the star power AD carry, most MVPs of any AD carry in the league currently that can carry them through, and I expect them to funnel those resources through him, throw as many members bot as possible, and this time not continue dying to the mid jungle duos. Juju just shut them down entirely as they wanted to play through.
It happens sometimes, man.
All right, Briz, what about you?
Yes, I think that we could see two on the favor spinning. Yes.
Yes is not an answer. Yes is not the answer we were looking for.
What's your prediction for the series? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well.
Is the wrong?
I'd say if you want to play through top side, don't let the enemy team have Urgot. That's basically it. Okay, that's my point. You can run with it. Go, Jenny, go.
All right, guys, we're going to go for a really short break before we come back with game number 2 between Rogue Warriors and Suning Gaming. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
And welcome back, everybody, to the second game of the LPL, Sunging versus Rogue Warriors. Warriors taking, in my opinion, a very surprising game over Sunging, and we'll have the second game. Does Sunging have in their back pocket to defeat?
Well, it turns out that they've got Hacker in their back pocket because he's going to be stepping up to the mark to take over from Wei Wei, who unfortunately wasn't able to have that early game impact that you really need as the Lee Sin. You can see him sitting on, I think it was 1-4, 1-5 by the end of that game. So now we'll see what to do. And we were only chatting about it during the break, saying that we really wanted to see this guy come back in you know, such a staple for Suning Gaming. Not even this split. I mean, even all of last year, it was Zhao Al and Hacker were the two names that you would top this roster, and I'm glad to see him now stepping back into the foray.
Exactly. Very, very interesting to see what they do bring to the table. Draft that Sunging Gaming do just because do they have to change their draft a little bit? That Wei struggled with the impact. As you said. Do you then pick something in a little bit different, or do you continue to look aggressive jungler and hope that how Wei can't?
Well, Suning have been pretty formulaic in how they've won games, and it's been on the back of, you know, these strong engages that just allow SMLZ to take over the fight. So it's sort of like Alistair, or, you know, you even saw Maple on the Lysandra that didn't really work out for them last game, but I want to see them go back towards that style now that they've got Hacker to just help almost babysit them through this early game, make sure they're not falling heavily behind two Rogue Warriors. And you can see coming into this ban phase as well, they're thinking the same thing. It's try and make sure that we're able to get through these early stages okay, and we're going to ban Lucian so Wuji can't have that big impact that he had. Exactly,
Luigi did fantastic with that Lucian in the loss. Been denied that, but the ban that I'm interesting by doing drafted is actually the Kled. Now, if you look throughout history, Rogue Warrior, top laner of Zhaoyong actually has a history of playing the Cantibulas Cavalier Yordle, and against an Urgile, the side of the Kled definitely has a good time.
Yeah, and that's the idea, is just make sure that, look, we don't want any sort of us coming out here. Let's just standard, and we'll be happy to just try and beat you in the way that we understand how the game should be played. Kled is one of those champions that you either know how to play against them, or you get your face beat in with a bear trap in a row. No in between there. So just make sure that they're going to be happy enough coming into this draft, and what both sides are doing here. As we were saying, you know, Joal and Hacker have picked up the Lysandra and the Urgot for the side of Suning here, and this is going back towards that style that we expect from Suning. Big engage in the mid lane, strong top laner that also has a big impact in flanks, which is what Joal is known for. It's his speciality. And then you're going to see on the side of Rogue Warriors, though, we're also seeing Premier AD carry when Lucian is off the board that are going into the hands of Wuji. You've also got Hua Tian back onto that Syndra, which has been pretty much one of his staple three champions. It's been that, the Jace and the Aurelius. So I'm glad to see that both of these teams are playing towards their styles. And now with Hacker back on board, we'll get to see if Rogue Warriors really catch up to the strength of Suning game.
Exactly. Hacker will have access to that Xin Zhao. How much impact he can have, because much like the Lee Sin, early groundlers that come out, so we'll see what impact they do have. And this is patch 9, so crit still aren't as impactful as a live patch. But of course, there is the edit, the hotfix from 3 as well, so we won't be seeing any top lane shenanigans that have been recently.
Yeah, I'm very glad that's not a thing. I'm not gonna lie, my favorite part of this entire, you know, mess of the meta that was coming out with that Frostmancy was Bang for 100 Thieves asking if they could have a remake because he couldn't see who needs CS when Huni Hero was. Yeah.
Greatest reason for a pause in competitive League of Legends, in my opinion. Like, it is just one of like, really? That's happened? Like, okay. We are seeing the bans continued, and the locked in from the side of Suing Gaming. So, looking for a traditional carry, preferring the wave clear.
Yeah, I mean, SMLZ has gone back to this pick quite often, and I like hands. He's very strong on it, but also into the Ezreal. It's decent to keep that Ezreal shoved in, but also because Ezreal can't really punish you alongside that Tahm Kench, you've got a pretty nice laning phase as well, so you're able to get up to your items and just become that big team fight that you really want. And this is, as we were saying, Sunny going back to strength. Team fight, team fight, team fight. We called for it. Sword Art on the Alistair. You've got Maple on that Lissandra. Jewel on that big flanker. This is prime Sunny gaming draft coming out right now. And I want to see... Why would you ruin it? I was right in the middle of my speech.
And, well, Sunging apparently doesn't care, as rather than they think to themselves, well, we've got a Xin Zhao, we've got an Urgot, we don't need any more. We need a little bit of protection. Coming out up there. Not what I was expecting. I'm not exactly disagreeing.
Yeah, it's definitely... It's a different direction that Sword Art has gone. Now, Sword Art, of course, is a support that has a heap of champions in his back pocket, and this is a little bit of a different style from Sunyan in general. You still, as you say, have that heavy engage that can come through with Xiao, with Hacker, with Maple, and now you've just got the keep some of these, you know, lower health less health members, I suppose I should say, topped up, particularly when you're looking at damage that's available. You've got Jarvan, you've got Syndra. These are two, if they combo correctly, can remove a lot of these members. In particular, is the one that stands out to me. They can just delete that Jin Zhao off the map. Now you've got Soraka to try and help a little bit, and it'll also have an impact in those side lanes as well. That Jax wants to be that big split push pressure, but having able to keep your top laner just nice and healthy in that side lane is going to help out monumentally for Soon.
Exactly, and I'm very happy you met Jax. As someone who picked quite a bit of Jax myself, look at the matchup of Jax into Urgot and think to myself, if it comes to visit the top lane, it's going to go very much in favor of that top laner. And I think we've all run a Jax or an Urgot the no ball, literally shot by them. So the question becomes, do both these junglers decide to look top lane and try and get their top laner ahead? Or is it one of those cases of, let's leave the top laners alone, see how it goes, and the Urgot beat up on the Jack?
I think the biggest thing Sunyan is actually looking for the counter ganks. Because the issue is, if you look at Jax, he's got, you know, a lot of mobility there with the leap strike, and chances are you're going to have to invest a flash or something on the side of that Urgot to try and make that work. The strike as well, the E is going to make sure that it's very difficult for you to try and actually deal damage to him. So I think instead what you want to do is wait until you see the Jarvan and the Jax commit their mobility tools, commit that leap strike, commit the flag and drag in to try and get onto the Urgot, and then have Jin Zhao come out and try and turn that gank back in your face. Particularly, you can burst someone pretty effectively when you've got that much damage coming out. And if you've got the Fear Beyond Death available, Jax is then going to be slowed up by the fear, and that becomes a very difficult to try and get back out of as Rogue Warrior. So what I'd like to see from the side of Sunyan is a lot of vision control up towards this top side, or at least into that enemy jungle, to spot out where Juju wants to make his presence known and make sure that Hacker is going to strike back.
In talking about the top laners, a little bit of love shared between the two as we take a look down the keystones. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Maybe like you can see people argue like, oh, why not take something like Electrocute on Syndra? But Hustler a little bit more damage into Maple's Lissandra.
Yeah, just try and put that poke down nice and early and set yourself up for Juju, because of course Maple is going to be very, very safe. Has that keep himself there, the claw as well. So really you're heavily relying on either the burst damage, which is why you might go for the electrocute, but if you can just keep him poked down, if Juju comes for a gank, that kill pressure is far higher because you just won't have the opportunity to react when you're Maple.
So I'll see if they decide to look on the top side, but for now, it looks like everyone in the lane is just sort of farming to control the game. Junglers are on split sides, and we'll have to see, because I've seen a lot of vertical jungling lately, where both junglers are like, Jarvan, you take top side, Xin Zhao, you'll take the bottom. Actually, it looks like they may be looking for it on both the lanes right now. Jarvan playing aggressive, and Xin.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Hacker can make this work. He's going to be looking for Killua here, but there's not much CC.
Jumping around, forcing the flash. Beautiful pick up, SMLZ, grabbing himself first blood on the bottom side of the map.
that was not a gank that I expected to work, particularly when you're looking at, Sword Art on the Soraka. Notorious, you're like, oh, well, Soraka doesn't provide much in the way of CC unless you can stay in that E for long enough, but that's never going to happen in that situation. But there's enough damage out from Jin Zhao in the early stages alongside SMLZ to remove the Tam Kench. That was a fantastic play.
Exactly. Part of what I love is you saw Hacker didn't bother to try to attack Rouge when he ganked. He beeline for kill. I was like, no. Ezreal, I know I'm not going to kill you. You probably have Arcane Shift available. Your Tam Kench really lacks the mobility. So I love it's like, okay, just Tam Kench is the target.
Yeah, but we can see how both of these junglers are trying to play towards their individual team strengths. So when I look at Rogue Warrior, I'm all about that split push. I'm looking at Xiao Yun on that Jax. He wants to try and win the game in those side lanes. So having Juju go up there to try and disrupt the Urgot makes sense if I'm on the Rogue Warrior side. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make that gank land. So now they're going to set a little bit further behind. But when you look at the side of Suning Gaming, it's team fighting all day, every day. Classic Suning Gaming. So getting to SMLZ now means your big team fighting tool and pretty much your later carry as well, because Maple's going to fall off. Xiao Al will kind of fall off as well. So you're relying on this Victor a huge amount. So that early kill is going to work wonders for Sunni.
You seem to play around the bottom side, Hacker stealing away some of the jungle camps, but I think he should be actually to try and force it, but with sort of back pocket there with the Soraka. It's simply freedom, and that's going to be a lot of tower plating that's going to be falling. Look how far the Rogue Warriors have to play. Like, Ezreal's not even in the lane anymore.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to keep this wave off your Terra as well against the Victor. Now, he will be able to teleport back, but again, you can see just little chips being put down this entire time. Now, Sunni moves back if they want to and pick up a decent amount of items for themselves.
Exactly, electing to do that. Hopefully, he does have enough for his upgraded Hex Core, but actually, he is electing to go for a Frost Fang as his first item. Now, we are in the 9.3 hotfix era, so you can't get it solo, but the fact he's electing for a Frost Fang is very interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see it. I mean, it's kind of the same idea. Oh, hang on a second.
Mid lane, however, taking a Maple, gone before the gank. Hacker trying to turn around for flash and melee, and the auto attack's coming out from Hacker, but does at least burn Weihu's flash.
Yeah, it was a great gank. I said it already. Just if Huatian can keep poking down this Lissandra. Oh, hang on, the teleport coming back in as well. Hacker may be looking for some decides against it, but as I was saying, if Huatian can just keep them poked down, well, that makes it an easy gank for Juju, and that's exactly what we just saw. Able to get in, wipe Maple off the board, and now we're actually looking at Sunni they can answer. Although Huatian is going to have to back at least soon because he's got no mana left, so they're going to look for the play instead.
Intercepting it, so it's going to be a 4 versus 3 on the bottom side. Top laners, neither of them have teleport. They just use the lane, so there's no help coming if they do decide to commence the dive. But I think they're electing away from it just because they see Jarvan on the bottom side, and it's not worth the risk.
No, they don't want to overcommit here. And as you were saying, 3 members there makes that dive a very different story. And looking at the SMLZ now, just because we wanted to point out the Frostmancy, which upsets me, but he's not actually going to
there's...
Oh, hang on.
On the bottom side, they are able to get away. There is no clarity that comes out of MLZ, so it's not going to be the Frostmancy. However, I have a feeling about eclipsing that FMLZ. If the last couple of professional games I've watched tell me anything.
Yeah, it's basically you end up with enough money because you're going to be not farming, but you just be whacking away in the champion the whole time, and those procs can deal a decent chunk of damage, but it also gives you a decent amount of gold too, especially when the Terra Painting
So
comes
Maple
in,
has arrived, a flash from Tomb, and it is just that for Maple makes himself a Tomb, makes sure that it picks up the kill.
And this is what we want to see from Sunni coming into this as well. We were saying, look, try and shore up that early game, make sure Rogue Warriors aren't getting an early lead. Maple now roamed down to the bottom lane, wasn't able to make much happen, but that top lane now is where that big impact is going to be felt. And we talked about it, setting Xiao Yun behind is a big key winning factor for Sunni Gaming, and that kill will start that.
Definitely not feel when he falls really far behind. He's a duelist. He wants to get a split push. Well, you're really not going to be split pushing much against an Urgot who's ahead. When you've just look at his items, he's been able to complete one item force right now, just sitting on scrap.
Yeah, he's pretty. We even say he's pretty far behind. I mean, when you look at it, it's only 4 CS in the kill, so he's still reasonably okay. He just needs a little time to get a point. But I would like to see Juju get up here and try and help him get to that point, because we can see already that Maple is just roaming all over the place, and Guatian can't really do particularly much to keep him here. And it is coming back to that teleport that we saw Maple play, or Maple pick up, able to get back towards that mid lane a little bit faster. Means he's now got to roam about while Guatian's back in base shopping.
Exactly. Maple is 10 CS down below his opposite number, but it's not too bad. Meanwhile, a lot of pressure forced onto now, who's recalling just because they die, but in the mid lane, Maple is in a trouble, but you will get him out alive.
Yeah, and that's where we can see if you're full health. Oh, hang on.
Oh, there's a tower dive in the top side. Jay would get the counter strike down, but it's not going to be enough. There is no mana for the Phoebe on death, but I don't think they need it. A couple more hits will do it. The shotgun needs draw. One more hit will do it. The flash to ensure the Grandmaster goes nowhere.
Yeah, well, he's going back to that base anyways. The grey screen is quick to follow, but they will now be able to put some good damage on that top lane tower as well. Might be able to even take it for themselves. I mean, you've got the Urgot is going to be able to do a lot of damage, and Zhao can as well. And when you got Jarvan trying to take the dragon in response, this is going to be first turret going over to Sunni.
Exactly, and that's going to be a lot of turret plate gold going on the top side of the map. But, are they leaving it? There's no way they leave it, right?
I don't know if they actually have vision of where the Jarvan is right now. It could just be a case of trying to be careful, because looking at where their vision is right now, I don't think they spotted it out. Now they realize that he's on the dragon, but I thought that he might be up towards the top side, so better safe than sorry to just leave it and back away.
Fair enough. Sorry, do not want to get caught out counter. So wait for now, and we'll see if able to grab that turret soon. Completed Black Jiao. I'm surprised if that turret lasted very much longer.
Yeah, I mean, Black Cleaver completed a 20 CS lead alongside 2 kills to boot. This is a very scary Urgot, and we said at the beginning, try and shut down the Jax. That's definitely been done. So it's on Zhao Yun to see how he can get back into this game, and how does Rogue Warriors enable him to do that? Particularly when you're in a lane that you've got to keep going up to this Urgot, it makes it far more difficult. So I nearly want to see how Rogue Warriors play their lane assignments now that we're going to be looking towards that first turret going down. Do they want to send Wuji and Killua up to the top side, or do they want to try and just leave Zhao Yun butting heads against this big Urgot?
I mean, you might as well leave him for now. It's not an insurmountable advantage on the top side of the map. Jack still be relevant if you roam him around the map. What I want to talk about is you did the Klepto strategy. SMF has had about 10 CS since he bought the Frostfang, and is sitting more gold than Wuji's Ezreal.
Yeah, literally all you do is just take the cannon creeps. That's all you're doing, because they're the ones that are actual. And then you just sit there and you're like, oh, you want to come up to the wave? Cool, I'm just going to cue you in the face. That's how this just works. Rinse and repeat over and over. And it's such a frustrating thing to play against, particularly. It's not so bad as an AD carry, but it's a lot worse when you're in that top lane. But it just means that, look, not only are you getting a heap of gold from it, but it's also, if you look back at what happened at the start of Season 9 to those to the vision changes, having that extra gold or extra wards there even is so crucial. But
we'll come to that in a second. They're backing away. Wait a second. This isn't the fight we want with Wu, who in the pocket of Husty, and they hit safe. You thought counter gank that they want, well, the counter gank they may get, but I don't know if Husty will stay alive on the bird. One more, burning him down. A lovely double cataclysm now. Hitian here is here with the time. Fuji pick kill, says no, I want this kill. Meanwhile, on the top side, Jax falls again to this Urgot.
Yeah, mid lane's like, yo, bro, I heard you like counter ganks, but instead, Zhao Hal's like, you know what, I got this. Manages to take the kill himself, now picks up that first turret, can shove this wave in as well. And on the bottom side as well, Sunin again, just the individual performances that are coming out from the top and bottom lanes are now netting them a lot of gold. SMLZ, which has to clear one more wave. There's not a heap that Wuji can do, and that's the first 2 towers in favor of Sunin.
Exactly. The turret that had all the turret platings taken partly helps explain the 3,000 advantage that Swing has over Rogue Warriors now.
Yeah, and we haven't even hit that 15-minute mark. So this is where it really starts to become a problem for Rogue Warriors. Suning, I want to see them back. I want to see them get vision, and I want to see them take complete control of this river. Right now, it is working a bit in their favor, but I want to see them push that up, get it into the enemy. We'll have to hold on for a second as we're going to look at this replay. And yeah, it's just,
Oh, this is
that's
just
it's greedy. Yeah, it's greedy as well from Zhao Yun. I mean, you got to realize at that point that if that E connects, you're going down. The Fear Beyond Death is going to do far too much, and he ends up paying for it with his life. And it's sitting at 0-3, as we're already saying, the big win con for Rogue Warriors. So Sunni now are pretty much in full effect. When they get their team fights underway, it's going to be very difficult for the side of Rogue Warrior to try and answer for that, and particularly if they look towards diving in this mid lane, which is an option now that both those side lanes are down. Be in a lot of trouble. That's why you're seeing multiple members from the Rogue Warrior side are hovering around this mid lane, trying to dissuade any sort of aggression.
Exactly. Rift Herald appears to be the next objective for seeing. The question: will Rogue Warriors contest this? I think they can't even afford to. Like, look how far behind them. Jack's still putting together his first side. Pretty much has been ready to go in that righteous glory.
Yeah, I mean, the items across the board for Sunin are getting a little bit out of hand. And when they get, now that they have that Rift Herald as well, they have to plonk that down in the mid lane, and there's a bit more gold in their back pocket as well. So Sunin, look, way more commanding in this game than they did in the previous game of this series.
Exactly, looking a lot stronger, and see if they can continue to utilize that lane on the top side. It looks like a little bit of trouble. Instant catapulting as well as the Jacks. K need to kill him before that thing to be triggered. The little, but it looks like the reinforcements have arrived. The Tom Ken thing, don't worry, bros, you really needed me here for this.
And to be fair, I know that you've got Suning Gaming who are taking the Dragon response, but I'm far happier if I'm on the side of Rogue Warriors to just get a kill into the hands of this Jax, get some gold onto him. Just because prior to that, like, I know it wasn't a shutdown, but even then, just having that extra little bit of money there for this Jax so then he can get to that late game point is going to help out massive.
These two mid laners and supports just juking it out. The unleashed power and the Chaos Storm being dropped, but it's mostly just for pressure. But Rift Herald is also going to get plopped into that mid lane, and I think Suning made a very telegraphed call of, hey, this is where we want.
Yeah, it was always going to be the case when it's the last outer third remaining, but the big question was how far did Jax want to try and push in that top lane to answer. Maple, though, is hovering off on the side here, might be looking for an engage if Rogue Warriors go that bit too aggressive, but actually, you know what? It's going to be the Rift Tower going down, and that tower still remains standing.
Exactly. They felt like they just had to use it. They got quite a bit of chip damage onto the turret, but weren't able to really commit to it. But look, on the bright side, they did burn Ji Young's teleport on this Jack. So if they want to try and make like a global play in the near future, they don't have a teleport that's going to contest them.
Yeah, the big question is, though, what's that global play going to be? I mean, the Drake, they only just took it. That's not going to be up for a little while. You haven't really got a Baron to talk about yet. We're only at 16 minutes into the game, don't forget. Like, this has been very accelerated by Suning Gaming, but we're still got to wait for a lot of these big objectives that can force fights to really come up. Otherwise, you're pretty much happy as Huatian and Wuji to sit underneath this mid lane and just continuously clear out every wave that starts to push up and make sure you can start to slow the game down a little bit and allow Zhao Yun to get to those big items.